Yep, it's the expected return of a character that I bet 95% of people didn't want to come back. You know him, you loathe him. It's the one and only Donnie the Unicorn. Now, if I had to guess, the writers were probably banking on this guy to be a hit because they thought he was going to represent a Steven Universe level of social norms, but seeing as they clearly didn't do a good job with that in Horn Sweet Horn, there's pretty much zero chance that people are ever going to like him. But whether or not the decision to bring him back was made before or after the episode's controversy is hard to tell, so I don't think it's fair to say that they're grasping for more attention here because of that situation. However, that doesn't mean I'm going to hold back with my critiques of his actions and behavior in the episode itself. Bubbles kicks things off by getting really excited that Donnie's returning for a unicorn student exchange program. Not Celestia arrives at the door to drop him off and presents the girls with a list of his allergies, to which Buttercup replies with,
"Here's a list of his allergies."
Could've just written this down, man.
Do you not see the scribbles right there, Buttercup? Like, I understand if you can't read it, but there's clearly something written down there. It is at this moment that Donnie shows up for Bubbles to explain all of the fun activities they're going to do together. He also gives Bubbles a spoon as a token of their friendship, which will be more important later on, so don't forget about it. The next day at school, Bubbles introduces Donnie to a few other students to kick things off. We also learn that another student took Donnie's place at the Unicorn School, and now I'm suddenly getting flashbacks to another Cartoon Network show I wasn't particularly fond of. After school gets out, the group meets up again and Bubbles proceeds to name the things that she and Donnie can do together. As it turns out, Donnie has actually already done everything Bubbles lists off with another character named Chelsea that he supposedly met in class earlier that day.
Who's Chelsea?
I met her in class. Oh man, she's so cool and funny.
Where's the joke?
She actually calls him right in the middle of their conversation too, causing Donnie to totally blow Bubbles off to go get ice cream with her instead. This obviously makes Bubbles pretty upset, and she goes home alone instead of hanging out with her friend because of this. By now you can pretty much guess that the entire idea of this episode is centered around Donnie ignoring her and Bubbles getting jealous. Back at home, Bubbles starts to freak out again because she's angry that Donnie's not spending time with her, but Buttercup gets the idea to just go meet them at the ice cream parlor so they can all hang out together. Once the three of them arrive, they find Donnie and sit with him while they wait to meet Chelsea. She finally shows up and the five of them start to have a conversation, during which the girls learn that Chelsea and Donnie actually wrote a song together. It's not terribly interesting, so I'll skip it. Oh look, there's that face again. So Chelsea and Donnie begin to eat their ice cream while... Yeah, so Bubbles goes all demonic on us for the millionth time, and luckily Blossom manages to come to the rescue and get the three of them out of there before anything bad really happens. And we're back at the girls' house again, where Donnie is confronted by Bubbles in the exact same fashion that Sedusa did to the girls in Mommy Fearest.
And just where have you three been?
And just where have you been?
I'm gonna speed past this part by just saying that they fight, Donnie leaves, and Bubbles cries. 2 hours L8R, Blossom and Buttercup finally get the idea to talk to her about the whole situation. Bubbles reveals that Chelsea supposedly lives in a volcano, which causes Blossom to realize that someone else must be behind all of this. Of course, if you saw the trailer to this episode like I did, everything was completely ruined for you. It seems Cartoon Network likes to take the DC route by spoiling everything before the episode even comes out. You know, because giving away the entire twist of an episode is clearly the best way to make people want to watch it. Meanwhile, at Mojo's Volcano Lab, Donnie is seen getting the magic sucked out of him by a machine when the girls suddenly break in. Mojo summons Chelsea to fight the girls, and she goes from this really short, innocent looking girl to this rather large fighting robot. Or at least, that's what it looks like from this perspective. The next few parts show that she's really just as tall as she always was, so I'm gonna point out that there's a distinct lack of consistency here. Surprisingly, Mojo explains that his plan is to sap Donnie's magic and use it to power his death ray. Oh, so he's actually evil for once. Good for him. Anyways, Blossom and Buttercup begin to fight Chelsea, but the show has gotten so incredibly predictable at this point that we already know that they're going to get knocked down in one hit. Called it. But Glitter? Seriously? Buttercup literally just got knocked down by powder. What? I'd understand if it got in her eyes and made it difficult to see or something, but there's no way that stuff would smash her into a wall. Bubbles frees Donnie and the two of them work together to destroy Chelsea by unintentionally using the friendship spoon Bubbles bent from earlier. They seal the deal by frying Mojo with his own laser and return home to celebrate their rebuilt friendship. This leads into Donnie's mother arriving and taking Donnie back after the two of them make up, so everyone's happy in the end. Alright, so there's one thing I truly liked about this episode, and that's that Mojo is actually doing something threatening for once. It only took 22 episodes, but he actually formulated a plan that tampered with an aspect of the girl's life and tried to take over the world. But aside from that, there's not really many other positive things I can say about it. My biggest issue lies with Donnie's behavior. I mean, he's a total dick to Bubbles throughout most of the episode. Like the whole time he just ignores Bubbles and praises this Chelsea girl instead. It's weird that it never occurs to him that maybe, just maybe, Bubbles is bothered by it. This is also supported by the fact that later in the episode he actually acknowledges that he did notice Bubbles was acting weird, but apparently he gave no thought as to why she would be doing it. I'd understand if he didn't think that anything was wrong, but he clearly knew something was. Donnie, instead of ridiculing Bubbles for being angry, why couldn't you just ask her for what's been bothering her?
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
He was doing literally everything they had planned together with someone else, so of course Bubbles would be upset by this. I know I would. But Bubbles isn't totally innocent here either. She did go a little overboard with her anger and jealousy towards Donnie making a new friend, and I won't deny that. The thing is, she wouldn't have been acting that way at all had Donnie not ditched her in the first place, and that's really where the core of the problem lies. Honestly, this entire thing could have just been solved had the two of them actually talked to each other about what they were doing. Back to the subject of why Donnie became a recurring character. What makes him being a unicorn different and significant from him being a regular person? Other than appearance, they honestly could have just slapped another kid in there and it wouldn't have changed much at all. If there's no purpose for Donnie to be there other than, oh look, he's a unicorn, not a human, there's no meaning behind it. What's the point? At least in Horn Sweet Horn, the entire idea centered around the fact that he was a unicorn. But hey, that's just my opinion of the matter.
See ya.